So 1999, you're the 7th pick of the Washington Wizards. Talk to us about that experience. That was a hell of a draft class, man. That was Elton Brand, Baron Davis, Steve Francis, L.O., Ginobili was a second-round pick, Jerry Terry. Ron, yeah, Sean Marion.
Ginobili.
Yeah, it was
That was a hell of a, Karolinko.
Man, listen, that draft year was ridiculous.
Crazy.
I mean, it was crazy. And, you know, I can remember especially the night before the draft and my man BD, he came in my room and he was like, yo, man, you going to the Wizards. I'm like, how you know? He was like, oh, my agent
always knows some shit.
Yo,
he think he know everything.
Yo, man, he was like, he is like, man, I know where, you know, I'm going to Charlotte. Steve Francis going to get, you know, drafted by Vancouver. Like I'm like, bro, how you know? He's like, my agent told me. I said, man, you got to be kidding me. I started looking at my agent wrong, crazy, because after the draft, I ended up firing my agent because of the information that Baron Davis had and my agent didn't have at the time. Because I was thinking, like, man, why don't you know this, man? Like, how's he coming to tell me that? But that class was mean, man. I mean, if you look at the guys that we had in there, you talk about Elton Brand, who had a great career. Steve Francis, who was like all world at the time.
Took the world by storm.
Oh,
Steve Francis took the league by storm.
A problem.
Yes, he did.
And that's a guy that we don't talk about a lot.
Man,
but Steve Francis was a
the
problem.
League over.
Nobody wanted to guard him. Nobody wanted to.
Nobody.
Yo, they had that one thing called 1 shake, 2 shake, 3 shake in Houston.
Yeah.
Where they had a little isolation with him and Coutinho and Moochie Norris. Like, you didn't want to get caught on that blender. But BD and, you know, L.O. and, you know, we had, you know, Ron and I mean, you got to think about Ginobili was a second-round pick.
Late second-round pick.
Like, which was crazy. But, you know, we had one of the best class in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of your vets with the Wizards that year?
Oh, man, my vet was Rod Strickland, man.
OG Rod.
Yeah, hey, Strick was my dude, man. Like, he took me underneath his wing, man, like an OG should, man. Like, you know, he gave me and LaRon Prophet was the rooks at the time, and he made sure we were straight. You know, he'd give us his car. You know what I'm saying? If, you know, we go out, everything was on him until one day LaRon Prophet put diesel fuel in his Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, my God.
And Strick was pissed off. And Prophet didn't know, because we kids from the neighborhood, we didn't know what type of gas to put in a Mercedes, so Prophet put diesel fuel in there. So Strick was pissed off at him, but Strick was my guy, because the thing about it, and both of you guys know this, once you first come in the league, especially when you come on a veteran team, you know, they expect you to just fall in line when you get there, right? They don't expect you to be an alpha in the locker room. You can't go into a veteran locker room and say, all right, you know what? I'm going out there and play my game, the same game that I was playing in college. No, they didn't give a goddamn I won a national championship. They was like, fuck that national championship shit. That shit don't mean nothing here. You know what I'm saying? So it was guys on the team that would be like, hey, man, you know, Rip, you out there, you know, shooting the ball too much. And, you know, I took a page out of my man Kobe Bryant, because before I, you know, announced that I was going to the league, me and him would talk on the phone, and I say, hey, give me one piece of advice that helped you when you came to the NBA. He was like, Rip, when you come, you hit first. I don't give a fuck who on your team. He was like, man, you come in, if your game is to score, you go out there and fucking score. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, because if you come in and you start trying to fall in line and you start just, you know what I mean, just going out there and just being a regular role player, you're going to be a role player your whole entire career. So I was like, damn, all right, cool. So my mentality was coming in like, all right, you know what, shit, I've been a scorer my whole entire life. I'm coming out there and putting that ball up. So a couple dudes would get pissed off on the team, man, why is he shooting? You can't shoot the ball, whatever. So one time I was like, man, fuck it, then I ain't gonna shoot this one game. So I come in the game, Strick passed me the ball, and I passed it back to him. So at halftime, he came to me, he's like, Rip, shoot the fucking ball. I said, Strick, there's some dudes on the team that, you know, told me, you know,
sneak dissing,
fall in line. You know what I'm saying? you can't shoot, right? So he was like, look, Rip, tell them motherfuckers, you know, if they got a problem with you shooting, come holler at me.
OG Strick.
say no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? I said to the team, I said, yo, if anybody got a problem with me shooting the ball, holla at
talk to my big little homie back here.
Holla at big bro. You know what I'm saying? Haven't had a problem since. You know what I'm saying? So that's my dude right there. Strick always said, man, he was like, Rip, how the hell am I gonna get assists if you always passing the ball? You know? So that was my dude that really took me under my wing and really showed me the way.
Tell me your rookie year, who was the one matchup, the guy that you were like in awe and that actually busted your ass?
Oh, that I was at all at first?
Yeah, damn, man. I'm finally playing so-and-so and they just went to work.
Oh my goodness. I would have to say Allen Houston, man.
Forget how cold Allen Houston was, man.
Man, listen.
Smooth as can be, too.
Hey, Allen Houston was a problem, man. You know what I'm saying? And especially when he was in New York, when they had him and Latrell Sprewell on the wing. Yeah. Because you know when you got two elite scorers on the wing, you can't hide. Like you can't, you can't hide because you know at certain games you can go in and be like, all right, you know what, I'm going against, Miami and I got to guard, I'm going against D Wade, but I can, Miami didn't have two elite scorers. You know what I'm saying? They had D Wade and then they had Pose, but Pose was in there to guard the other team's best player, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So you can on the defense end, you can take plays off because you ain't got to worry about this dude just coming at you
getting
all
the ball
the
time.
Every time. So when playing against the Knicks, you had Spree and you got Allen, and they had a play where it was called turn 2, remember turn 3, right? Where them dudes wouldn't do nothing but put you on the block. So them dudes, man, like my first year, either Allen Houston had 14 points in the first quarter or I had 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes and I was sitting for the rest of the quarter. So that dude right there, man, I couldn't guard him because I couldn't speed him up. And if anybody that knows Allen Houston, he doesn't talk on the floor. You know what I'm saying? You can't speed him up. He's playing at his own pace. You can't talk trash and get him out of his game. And that dude used to murder me night in and night out every time.
That's funny as hell. I love it.
Hey, you averaged 9 points your rookie year. Then you bounced from 9 to 18 your second year. What was that process like?
It was cool, man. It was fun because first year was hard because you come from a winning situation in UConn and you're playing all the minutes and the offense is pretty much based around you. The second year I came in, I'm like, all right, you know what, Rip, we're still young. I'm still playing. I think at the time, Mitch Richmond was still there at the time because I was playing behind Mitch and Mitch just signed a big deal. So I had to fall in line, Mitch is a Hall of Famer. Like I can't beat, at that time I wasn't going to beat him out at that position. But that year, guys got hurt. And, one thing about playing on a bad team, right? If you're a young guy, you're going to get a lot of minutes in the second half of the season.
Oh, yeah. A lot of minutes.
Like, you're going to get a lot of minutes. So the second half of the season, even though we wasn't looking, we wasn't a team that wasn't going to make the playoffs, they were playing all the young guys. So me, LaRon Prophet, Calvin Booth, they were starting to play us more. I went from playing, only like 10, 11 minutes a game to now playing 30 minutes a game. And once you do that with me, I ain't never looking back, bro. Like I ain't taking my foot off the gas. And I think in that second half of my second year, I think I averaged like close to like 30-something points a game. So my scoring average just shot up, and that's when I was like, yo, I'm here, man. I'm ready. Like I don't need to take no backseat to nobody. I just need an opportunity. And that was my opportunity there in Washington, especially going into my after my first year.
So you have obviously make your mark. You feel like you've arrived your second year. Your third year, MJ comes back. Tell me about him coming back first and foremost, and then the second part of the questions is, do you feel like that stunted obviously your process and your growth at the time?
Oh, man, MJ, man, that was awesome for my career. I always used to hear a lot of people talk about, okay, MJ coming back to a young team and it's going to stun a lot of their guards, growth. Because at the time, it was me, LaRon Prophet, and it was a guy, Courtney Alexander, who was Man, he was a problem
gang.
too. He was a guy that played
gang.
on the wing with me. That we both during that second half of the year in Washington, after my second year, we both averaged close to 30 points a game.
Yeah, he was balling.
But when MJ came, man, it was the GOAT, man. That's GOAT status, man. As a two guard coming up, and Mike, being your idol growing up, and now you got an opportunity to lock it up with him and learn and get as much information off of him as possible. Because even my second year, he used to come down and practice with us all the time, right? But he didn't, every now and then he'd come in and, work out with us, kind of similar to what he did with y'all when you was on the Bobcat, Shaq.
Yeah,
he'd come down and work out with us. And me and Prof used to play with him all the time, and we used to talk trash to MJ all the time, but it was only certain things that I would say. And, Prof would sometimes, say a little bit of extra stuff that I wouldn't go there. And I remember one time we were playing in practice, right? And Prof, might have hit a shot on MJ, and he was like running down court, yeah, you can't guard me with them old ass knees. And I'm like, oh.
Oh.
Stop. Time out. I was like, oh, nah. You don't say that to the GOAT. MJ was heated. I mean, he was heated to the point that when I went to my exit meeting, because he was the president at the time. I went into my exit meeting. He was like, "Oh, okay, Rip, your man, your buddy, you know what I'm saying?" Because he ended up trading Prof that summer. He was like, "Oh, your man." He was like, "Oh yeah, he ain't going. He out of here." He said, "But you gonna be there by
hell no.
you gonna be there by yourself." You know what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna have your buddy to co-sign, and you gonna be on the island by yourself. I like, look,
he was still mad. He was still mad.
I was like, I don't want no problems, bro. I don't want no problems at all. I'm your teammate, man. But when he came,
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. We got into it. Right? He traded my ass too.
Yeah, so
right after we got into it.
You got to be careful. But when MJ came, man, I just thought it was a blessing, and for me as a basketball player, because I was able to learn so much off of him. It took my game to a whole new other level, especially even playing with him, because you got to remember, when you're playing with Michael Jordan, all the focus is going to be on Michael Jordan. I mean, traveling with MJ is like traveling with the Beatles back in the day, right? So when playing with him, the one thing that I learned with playing with Mike was, you remember, back in the day, they used to call it floppy, right? When two guys come down and the two bigs come down and we run them off screens. So I was like, man, screw my bigs. I'm just going to run off MJ. Why? Because every time I run off MJ, you know what I'm saying, my man going to go to him and his man ain't going to leave him, right?
Yeah.
So I would get wide open every time. And MJ would come to me after the game and be like, hey, Rip, I see what you're doing out there. I see what you're doing out there. I'm like, yeah, what am I supposed to do, man? Like, shit, you the GOAT. Like, so he was very helpful for my career when I was in Washington. And another crazy story is that we just talked about Allen Houston, right? So Allen Houston was killing me. Like I said, he killed me in my first 2 years, right? So when MJ came, third year, now I feel like I'm growing up. You know what I mean? I grew some hair on my chest. Like, I've been through the war and the battles a little bit. So, and I got big bro. Like, I got the bully in the room, right? So, I'm a little bit more confident. So we playing against New York. We playing against New York and Washington. And first half, I go out and I give Allen Houston 30 in the first half. Right? So, like I'm geeked. I'm like, okay, for all the times this motherfucker been killing me and getting me in foul trouble, I'm in his ass right now, right? You know what I mean? So we in there at halftime, we talking, coach talks, does a speech. MJ come up to me. He was like, hey, man, hey, young fella, you had a great half, but Big bro gonna take over the second half, so don't worry about it. I got you. Big bro gonna take over the second half, right?
That's crazy.
At the end of the game, man, in that second half, I only had 2 shots in the second half. I had
bro.
30. I think I might have ended with like 32. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
I was like, damn. I was
up.
at the end of the game. I was like, damn, man, this was my perfect opportunity to kill this dude. This dude killed me my first 2 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I got you on my side. He was like, hey, man, don't worry about it, man. You'll get another opportunity at that. But as a young kid, you don't think that you're going to get another opportunity. That was your time
That
to
was
shine.
your moment.
But big bro was like, he tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, man, you did enough. I was like, in my mind, I was like, hell nah. But he was like, you know, that second half he took over, he might have scored 25 or 26 in the second half, and we ended up winning the game. But that story always sticks to me because that was my opportunity to go out and get 50.
That's funny as hell, especially on someone that been lighting your ass up.
Lighting my ass up, yes.
This life was all I ever wanted.
I'm not leaving. Not yet.
I was hoping you'd say that.
You gotta hit the streets, make some money.
People like us must destroy people like him. Buckle up.
Get Showtime free at Showtime.com.